Well, good afternoon again. I say good afternoon because I am so excited on the second day of May to be back with you. Yesterday, I read a poem from Denise Gunn, and I've just been thinking about being a woman and an excellent woman. And I am glad as a daughter of Sarah, yes, Sarah's daughter of faith, that I'm back today just to share about another woman that stood out to me. Sarah was barren and she received a promise. And with that promise, she brought forth the promised child. She walked through a lot of stuff. She was barren and she became the mother of the faithful. She was the wife of Abraham. And we experience a lot of questioning, how we question ourselves as women. Lord, is this going to happen? Did you really say that? Well, I want to present you. I don't know this woman's name. Her name is not mentioned, but she caught my attention recently. Her name is Manoah's wife. In Judges chapter 13, we read about Manoah's wife, and some things stand out about her. And I want to say to us, women, even as we're walking with those of us who are married and walking with our husbands, or those who are not married, but even as you're in relationship with men in the church, at work, yes, I'm going there, that there is a way for us to relate, even as we are confident as the women of God we are, who are the men with the womb. Therefore, we come alongside to complement and help the men in our lives. They may be our fathers, they may be our brothers, they may be our husbands, they may be our male pastors and leaders, those at work. We come with a spirit of excellence to help. And I was just thinking of Manoah, who was married, Manoah's wife, who was married. And it's interesting, in Judges chapter 13, it says, in those days, a man named Manoah from the tribe of Dan lived in the town of Zorah. His wife was unable to become pregnant, and they had no children. Who does the angel of the Lord appear to? When you hear that something's about to happen, the angel appears and speaks directly to her, directly to her heart. In those days, what having a child was very important because you were able to reproduce, to multiply, yes, and to be the one who would carry forth, nurture what God has given you and carry forth his purposes. Well, she was barren, she didn't have a child. We don't hear that she was asking for a child, but she is met by an angel, and he says to her, even though you have been unable to have children, yes, even though you are barren, you will soon become pregnant and give birth to a son. So be careful. And he goes in, the angel of the Lord goes in to explain to her what needs to happen. What does she do with that? She's out in the field. Her husband wasn't with her. She's married. She can't get married. She can't get pregnant alone. Hello. So she goes to her husband. She says, guess what? This happened to me. And she says this to him. And he immediately they go into a time of prayer and says, Lord, let the man of God come back to us again. So the fact that he came to her, he was coming to us. She included him. The next thing that happened, he's praying and said, let this man of God come back to us and give us more instructions about this son who is to be born. She shares this, and already faith is in this man's heart. I want this man of God to come back and share with me, share with us how we are going to look after this child. How are we going to care for this child? And sure enough, Manoah's prayer is answered, and the angel of the Lord appeared again, not directly to Manoah. He comes back to his wife. She was sitting in the field. Her husband Manoah was not with her. So she quickly runs and she says, he's here again. Manoah ran back to with his wife, and a conversation happens. Women of God, men are important, very important in our lives. We might have had bad experiences and we want to forget them, and so we cut them off, or we've had excellent experiences and it's not a problem. But I want to say to us that the men around us, first, men are important. The men of God that the Lord causes us to walk with are important. And I really want to encourage us today to take heed and know the very spirit of the men around you that you're walking with, and seek to surround yourself with men of wisdom, like the men of Issachar, who understood the times and the seasons and knew what was important at any given time. Yes, she was barren. Possibly she had given up on having children, but God has not given up on her. And I'm saying to you today, he has not given up on you. Read that whole passage. It is so intriguing, Judges 13, and see how she interacts, how she relates with her husband. Yes, and further on, a lot of us know about Samson, but what about knowing who nurtured Samson? Women of God, I want to encourage you that we're called to be nurturers. Yes, we're the helpers, we're the helpmeet. We nurture because we are the men that have the womb. We have the Spirit of God in us. And we always say, oh, we've got a sixth sense. I'm not going to that, but listen, there is so much that the Lord has in store for us. And I want to encourage Sarah's daughters today. Be willing to go through your process in obedience as you submit to the Word of God and the Spirit of God in you. He will lead you in places that you don't expect it, dreams or, appointments that you had and you said, Lord, isn't this going to happen? It will happen, but we've got to learn to wait on the Lord. And so I really want to encourage you today. Don't give up. Be about your Father's business and know that he is there for you. When you least expect it, he's going to appear, because God is not a man that he would lie. And if you read through this passage, you are going to even see more of how this conversation happens when she and her husband stood together and was having a conversation with the angel. And afterwards, he figured that he would die because they'd see God. She says, no, if that was so, he would not have received our offering. Women of God, we've got a lot to offer. Let us go through our process. Let us overcome our disappointments. Let us be healed from the traumas in our lives. I love listening to Lady Andrea, and she's got a new term, healer. Heal her. Be healed by him from all our traumas, and expect the unexpected in the unlikely places, because God is up to something for you, in you, and through you to bless this earth by blessing your family and those outside of even your sphere. Yes, step outside and see what God has in store for you. I really want to encourage you to our relationship tune-up that is coming up within a couple days on the 20th of this month. And you will see more about that and hear more about it. But it's going to be in Ajax, the same place we held Sarah's Daughters of Faith. tea, it's going to be held at the very same place. It's on the 20th of this month. And we are excited. My husband and I are excited to sit and have conversations, tune up our relationships. Bless you. I hope to see you and I hope to hear from you. Continue to like, continue to share, and know that God is up to something great in your life. He is in mine.